Hey everyone, this is the 6x12 cargo trailer toy hauler conversion. This video is going to be showing you the interior of the toy hauler. If you haven't seen the exterior video, go ahead and watch it after this. It has a lot of important detailed information about what I purposely did for the outside of this toy hauler to help me get into the most remote spots possible. When I first built this trailer, I built it with three things in mind. The first is that I wasn't really good at building. I don't have a lot of carpentry work, not a whole lot of background or skills, so I had to keep it like very simple. Second thing is that I didn't want a lot of systems, because the more systems you have, the more potentially they can go wrong. And if you're out, in the middle of nowhere, that can be pretty bad. And then the third thing I wanted everything to be really modular, just a real plug and play type style, so that in case anything happened to the trailer, or in case, the roof gave out for whatever reason, I could salvage a lot of the components without having to sink in a lot of those cost, time, and parts that a lot of other builds have. So starting with the flooring, it's a blue exterior deck painting. I wanted to make sure that I protected the bottom plywood as much as I could. A common problem with these is that you might see there's a lot of water damage that's created, by foot traffic or, leaks or whatever it might be. So I wanted to protect the flooring as much as possible by using that exterior decking. You can see the texture of it, very rugged. There's a certain type of paint roller that I had to use to get that texture and design. The original plan was to get an ATV into the toy hauler, but my ATV was stolen, and I wasn't able to use it with this toy hauler, so I made a few modifications because of that. So I think if you are going to utilize an ATV or a UTV, whatever it might be, in your toy hauler conversion, applying that decking would also be very useful. Next, we'll go over the kitchen. We got down here in the lower right, a fridge freezer Dometic 95 combo that will allow us to be out in the forest for about a week without having to resupply on groceries. The Camp Chef oven stove combo with the grease sides, so that when you're cooking, especially bacon, or eggs, there's not a lot of stuff coming from each side splattering the rest of the cargo trailer, so it helps keep everything really clean. The board that's behind it that's holding the Camp Chef is plywood that I had added, mainly because the standard wood that came from the factory is only a 1/4 inch thick. Well, when that happens and you get that size of wood, screwing and unscrewing components and parts into the side of your trailer could add a lot of potential issues, cracked wood, split wood, and I knew that the design was going to shift and move, so I thought that adding those pieces of wood was going to be the best because of that. And as you can see right here, this was from a griddle grill that we had put there that we have taken out. So, the design really did help in that regards, because we were able to, modify and move things around as needed. One thing that I wish I would have done, I wish I would have bought everything that I thought would have worked and integrated it into the design, move stuff around, and form, fit, and function to make sure that, I wouldn't have had to make a lot of returns, and that everything was a nice, smooth design. I bought a lot of stuff, ended up having to return a lot of it. So this is probably something that you might want to do for the future. All right, and you see this Holiday Inn sign right there. That was a wedding gift. We had our camper in Leadville, Colorado for our camping wedding. And so we got that as a wedding present. So I thought that was pretty unique. Up here, we have our Anderson connections that are feeding our Goal Zero battery bank. A common question that we always get is, how long is that going to last you for with your current setup? Well, this is really only, charging our, phones and charging our Dometic. So it's going to be about, 4 or 5 days before it's completely depleted. That also depends, on how hot the temperatures are, how much you open the Dometic and so forth. It's good to, utilize, those solar panels that we have up top, plug them in, right here, and get that charge necessary. Camp Chef organizer right here for all our kitchen stuff that we need, pots, pans, some food items. And then this heater buddy, which is going to be our heat source. When we're camping out on the mountain or we're snowboarding, we can actually camp at the mountain and utilize this for our heat source. It's really, really useful, came into handy, and it's really safe. So anybody that's wondering, like, is this a safe design? Well, probably not with the propane tanks right there. I'll give you that one. However, the heater buddy itself has a built-in feature to whereas it shuts down when it realizes that there's not enough oxygen, in the room or the area that you're operating it in. So saved us once. Thanks, heater buddy, and your Ingenuitive Designs and the people that made you. All right. So one of these propane tanks with this wide connector fitting is feeding the heater buddy. The other is going to the oven. And then the other propane tank is going to be useful for our firing or just as a backup as necessary. The bungee there is just to hold it in place as we're driving. The table behind it right here is just showing you guys, the usefulness of figuring out where things can fit and work. We utilize that thing a lot, outside so that we can have, our family meals, outside rather than inside. And, any place where you can find a spot, to put something is part of working with such a small space. One thing that you'll notice is that this ceiling is covered. It has a wood that's protecting it from the aluminum lining that's up top. And the dealer said that was really important to have. And not a lot of other YouTube videos talk about that because it's really significant in the fact that it keeps out that condensation and it keeps out any sort of moisture that might be forming. Another big thing is if you are looking to sleep, and have your bed not sit, longitudinally, but rather, side to side, you really want a 7-foot wide trailer because as soon as this wood's put on, you got about, very less than 6 feet that you'll have room for going side to side. And there's not a lot of beds that, are that short that I found. So I'm about 5'11", and right now the top of my hair is, touching this wood. And there are cargo trailers that are a little bit taller, so make sure you shop around, get the one that's best for you. Okay, so here's our folding bunk beds that we had. The wife was thrilled to sleep in bunk beds for our wedding night. But the system that I added because of that afterwards was this little yellow bucket that I got from Costco and some 2x4s. I cut another piece of plywood and then just you're able to shift it over, and now those 2 single mattresses now become a full-size bed. On this top bed is typically where we put our fiber stand-up paddleboard. It fits right across, so you can fit some bikes down there. Everything that you need, or want to bring. It's a really open space concept, really easy design, so that works. Also, all sorts of storage, underneath the bed right there. Just trying to make use of as much space as possible while going through this. Okay. Next, I just threw down a few extra boards that I had just to create a little step so that we're not rolling ankles in this little gap underneath right there. So that might come into use if you guys are clumsy like myself. For water, we just use 2 5-gallon buckets. That'll typically last about a week. And then we found this that we decided to throw in here that was fairly cheap and easy to do. Holds a lot of stuff in a really tight space. So, if you can work your way up as much as possible, that's what's really gonna be the game changer when you're making your 6x12 trailer, because it's gonna be able to add a whole lot more space. All right, one of my favorite things about the trailer is this rear door drop down that we have with the 10x10 canopy that's made by ABC. ABC builds a really sturdy, robust canopy that goes up really high, high ceilings, creating a bigger feel to it. And when you're working in such a small space, it's really nice to have this, added room. And what's really nice is this, these walls are all zippered, or they can be Velcroed, whatever you want to do. But the thing that makes it all work is this one panel right here that has this zipper design and the fold up door, so that you can have this seamless transition from the trailer to the outside canopy. The rear door is held up by 2 foldable or collapsible stools. And the orange things that you see right on top of them are used if the trailer isn't, level by chance, so that we can level out our rear door, making so it's not too sloped. We also use these for chocks, and we also use them underneath our trailer jack. So when we're unhooking the trailer, it has something to grasp and hold on to. I would, especially in this setup, these things have been really amazing, really useful. And so we're happy to kind of Jenga this thing together and have ourselves, an added patio or deck or whatever it might be, extra space where we can just get out of the trailer, have a little bit more room to breathe, especially if it's raining out or something like that. That is all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. All right, thanks.